Now let's move on and talk about your brand colors. Maybe you don't have a color palette as it is, but I'm sure you have some usual colors that go with your brand, right? These colors not only bring personality to your brand, but are also really helpful in conveying emotions. Now, I'm not going to dive into how to create your color palette. For that, check out my branding for small business course. What we're focusing on here is how to use the colors you already have and use to drive brand awareness. Here's what you need to keep in mind. This is about learning how to use your colors to drive brand awareness, right? So, first thing to bear in mind, as always, is you got it, consistency. You have your colors, stick to them. You don't need an endless number of colors to represent your brand. In fact, you can be just as effective with 2 or 3 brand colors. Too many colors can also cause confusion and make it harder for people to remember you. Decide which colors will serve you as primary brand colors, ones that define your core brand identity, and which ones will serve as auxiliary or accent colors. This way, you always know how to apply each color appropriately in different situations. A tip to make this job easier is to use Colors, which is an online platform that allows you to create and save your color palettes. This is an example using my personal brand colors. As you can see, and I'm sure you've noticed it throughout this course, I have 2 main colors, which are a really dark purple and this bright limeish color. Then I use 3 specific auxiliary colors depending on what I need them for, whether it's for backgrounds, text, or design highlights, for example. Here's an important note about collaborations and partnerships that I want to highlight. Many of my clients make the mistake of adapting their brand colors when they collaborate with other brands or partners. Let me be clear, never do this. When collaborating with another brand, it might feel tempting to adjust your colors to match their palette, but doing so can harm your brand's identity and it will make you lose the opportunity for brand awareness as well. When you change your colors to fit your partner's colors, you make it difficult for your audience to identify you, and you also make it more difficult for new audiences to become aware of your brand. Always keep your brand's core colors consistent, even during collaborations, to ensure that your audience can still easily recognize you. When in a partnership, you have 2 viable options to keep brand consistency. The first one is to maintain your own colors. You can choose to keep your brand's colors and ask your partner to follow your branding guidelines. This way, your brand remains consistent and your audience will continue to recognize your content easily. Or as a second option, you can use neutral colors, such as black or white, for example, to create collaborative content. This ensures that both brands' identities will remain intact. The key here is to ensure that your audience always recognize your brand, no matter the context or the collaboration. Here in the image, you can see the example of this company, which used to blend in with their partner's colors. When you'd come across their feed, you just wouldn't notice a consistent, strong brand because you would see the different colors from the different partners. It's like the brand didn't have a personal identity itself. How did it change when applying these guidelines? They started using either neutral colors such as black when in a partnership, or they would keep their own colors when the content would be displayed only in their own platforms. This way, they are leveraging the partnerships and the brand awareness that it brings without losing their own identity, without losing being easily and instantly recognizable. They are ensuring their brand will still stick in the audience's mind. Next, how to use your brand fonts. Your typography is also an important part of your visual identity, and once again, consistency is key. When I refer to your brand fonts, I mean the fonts you can use for any text-based visual. This is not the typography you use in your logo or your wordmark. Again, if you are inconsistent about this, you make it difficult for your audience to recognize your content and to feel connected and related to it. You may have different fonts for different purposes, such as a primary font for your slogans and taglines, a secondary font for titles, and a third font for body text, for example. However, if you don't yet have defined brand fonts, start with just one font and apply it consistently across all of your materials, all of your content. This alone will help you build brand recognition and create a cohesive visual identity for your brand. The last part of your visual identity are any other visual elements you might use, from icons, doodles, or avatars to designs, shapes, and photography, for example. All of these elements should follow your brand's identity and have clear guidelines to ensure consistency. You do not have to and even should not use all of those elements I said before. You should select the ones that fit with your brand's personality the most and write clear guidelines for them. So you will ensure to always give off the same vibe with your visuals. So if you use doodles, describe what's the style or idea behind them. Why do you use this type of doodles? If you use illustration, are they flat? Are they 3D? Are there outlines? What are the predominant colors in your illustration? If you prefer to use photographs, are they stock photos, which I don't recommend so much, but you might as well use them if you need to? Are they color? Are they black and white? What feelings or emotions they evoke? What elements they usually share? Is it people, nature, animals? This right now is not about changing or developing anything new in your branding. If you need that, go to see my branding for small business course. Right now, what you need is to provide guidelines to what you are already using in your visual branding. And believe me, you are using visual elements for your brand, even if you are not aware of it. Just go to your website, your newsletter, and your social media and focus on the visuals. Are there icons? Are there different colors? Are there photos? Are you using illustration in social media while in your website it's all photos, for example? What you want is to make your visual elements consistent across all your different channels. So when your audience goes from your website to your socials, they will still feel like it's you. They will still feel like they are living the same brand experience regardless of the channel. So make sure you are not giving off two different vibes. Is your email list getting one side of your brand personality while your followers are getting a totally different perspective of your brand? What about your real life customers? Do they experience the same brand? Your brand has to be the same regardless of the channel, regardless of what is the touch point your audience comes in contact with. As you can see here, you are not looking at the actual logo of these companies, right? Yet you can still sense their vibe, can't you? You can tell what they are about and even decide whether they feel like a business you'd want to buy from, just based on their visuals. That's the power of using your visuals the right way.